in this video, I'm gonna go through excruciating details on how to clean up your Web.Config file. However, there is a shorter version of this video that will give you pretty much the same results, but in just about 2 or 3 minutes. So you may opt to go and watch that video instead of this long, excruciating, detailed video. Now, step number 2 of phase 1, which is a setup, is a bit tricky. Now we have to clean up the Web.Config file of our Evoq site. We have to get rid of all the references to Evoq DLLs, to professional DLLs, and to enterprise DLLs as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the help of a tool called WinMerge. This tool will allow us to do a comparison from the Web.Config of the Evoq site with the Web.Config of the DNN 804 site. We're gonna put them side by side and we're gonna compare their lines. And here is the website that you can download in Merge. You can do this kind of comparison with other tools. This is just my preferred tool, but you can use whatever merging tool you are used to use. So I have the 2 folders here. I have the Evoq one on the left-hand side and the DNN Platform one on the right-hand side. And I'm going to open WinMerge and I'm going to drag the Web.Config of each one to it. And here it is. So left-hand side, right-hand side, we're gonna click OK. I'm gonna maximize this. And here you have an overview map of the differences. And you have the Evoq one on the left-hand side, the DNN core, the DNN platform one on the right-hand side. And we're gonna go line by line. This is where things can get very different depending on your installation, depending on your needs, because there might be lines in the Web.Config that are not necessarily related to Evoq. It might be related to a module that you may have installed, a third-party module. Who knows? So you have to make sure that whatever differences you're gonna see, that they are really related to Evoq, or maybe it's related to some other module that might be installed on your DNN website. This is where a lot of testing will be required to see if everything is working fine after those changes. But let's keep going here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get to the first difference. Now, here is what makes this process a little bit tricky. It's because certain lines are present on both of them. However, they are not in the same position. For instance, cryptography, it's present on both of them, but on different lines, you see, on different locations. So the tool is telling me that this is different. However, just by looking at it, I know it's not. Here's what I do. I position them in the same location. As you can see, it's right underneath auth services. I'm gonna position it there. I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna refresh. Now you see, cryptography is no longer different and it goes to the next one. What is the next one? Search iFilter. This one I know that we have to remove. Let's have a look here if there's any other additional clue. See, there's no additional clue here. There's no reference to professional, to Evoq, nor to enterprise. However, it's not present on the platform, and I'm quite sure that this is not used by any third-party module that I might be using there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to remove this line and I'm gonna save this, refresh again, and here it goes. We're gonna keep doing this. Another one here that it's in a different line, client dependency. You see, it's just in a different location. I'm gonna copy this line just to the same place so I can make sure that we are not seeing a difference that is not really a difference, you know. So let's refresh this, and now I can see forms authentication is different, you know. Actually, it's present on the Evoq version, but not in the platform version. So once again, I'm going to get rid of this line. Let's see if there's any. See, I have no idea what this mvolo is, but I'm just gonna remove it. Forms authentication wrapper. It's not there. I'm not sure. I don't think there's any other module using that. So I'm just going to get rid of it. Now, again, that's where testing will come to place. Refresh again, keep going here. Now, sites SQL server, this is a connection string. So of course they need to be different because they are different websites. Let's just keep moving forward. Now there's the other connection string here. This might be used by older modules. So I'm gonna keep this here because traditionally with DNN, there were those two locations that connection strings were placed. So I'm gonna keep going here. I'm gonna skip this one. Installation date, not a big deal, but there is an installation date as well there. So you see right here, they are different, that's fine. But to make myself consistent here, I'm gonna just copy and paste on the same location, which is right after improvement program endpoint. I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna reprocess, comment. I'm gonna bring over a comment, just again, because I want at the end of the day, those files to be the same except for the connection string and for the machine key. So I'll keep going. Telerik, there are two lines here. One line is already there. See, the second one is already here. For the sake of being consistent, again, I'm gonna move to the same location. I'm going to save this, refresh, and now we just have one line of difference here. Scripts folder, I don't see this line here on the Evoq version, so I'm going to bring this over. And I'll keep going, save, keep going. This is the installation date. I'm gonna actually bring this over because again, my goal is to make them the same. So I'll keep going. Next one here, install version. Of course, they are different. This is most likely the very first version of this DNN Evoq site, which was initially launched as a DNN 6 website back then, but there were upgrades done to it. So I'm going to bring this over as well. There are some extra lines here about Telerik, which I don't see on the DNN platform, so I'm gonna get rid of them. I'm gonna get rid of this entire block. See, now this one is one of the tricky ones because now I see system.codedom on Evoq and I see system.web, web page razor on the platform. Here's the thing. When I see something like this that I don't see the other location right away, what I do is on Evoq, I'm gonna get this text and I'm gonna search on the platform to see if it's somewhere here. So it's not at all in the platform. So from what I can see, this can be gone from the merging. However, on the other side, what we have is system.web.webpage.razor. Let's copy this entire tag, and let's have a look at Evoq to see if it's there already. And it is there. However, it's there at the very bottom of the Web.Config on Evoq. So here's what I'm gonna do. From a consistency point of view, I'm going to copy this to the same location. I'm gonna go to the very top. I'm gonna paste it there. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna refresh this. And as you can see, now we have a match with the system.web.webpage.razor. But of course, we still have the difference here about system.codedom. And what I'm gonna do, because I did not find that there, I'm gonna get rid of this. And we keep going like that. You can just keep saving and refreshing so you can keep matching things over. Now, next one here. So this is one case that you have to use your better judgment. You have to know what you are doing sometimes. You know, in this case, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to copy the one from just the top from DNN 804. I'm gonna put at the top there, and I'm gonna keep them the same because I know that this is usually important to have the font extension under static content section. So I'm gonna keep them the same. So I'm gonna do a bit of a merging on both of them because again, our goal is to have them looking the same. So I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna refresh, and I'm going to keep going. Another case here, modules. I remember that we have placed this because of a problem that we're having on the website because of some third-party module. So I'm going to keep this. So in this case, just to keep the lines the same, I'm going just to go back here to the 804 and put it there so we can make sure the lines are the same. And now we have the licensing. This is the code that checks for the licensing on DNN, and we don't need that if we are running the platform. So as you can see here, we have the enterprise under type, and that's a good indication that this is actually just for Evoq. So we're gonna get rid of this line. I'm gonna save this and keep going. Now we have mobile redirect. This is yet another case of having the same configuration but on different lines. Mobile redirect is down here. I'm gonna put this up there and save this, and then we can refresh again and keep going down. Users online, this is just a node setting, so DNN no longer uses users online, so we can get rid of this one. And let's keep going there. Client dependency module, let's see, this might be the case of being in different lines. So let's try to put on the same line so we can have them lining up. I'm gonna save, refresh, and now we have yet another one from different lines. Name services, let's put back there at the same level so we can compare properly. Now we have MVC modules, which yet again, it's another line that comes in a different position. We save and refresh and we keep going. Now we have a block here that can be all gone. It's all Evoq, professional, Evoq, professional, so we can get rid of this entire block. Save this, refresh. The next one we have is this detector, which is on platform, and I'm going to bring it over, keep going there. So we have yet another case of same settings on different lines. So I'm gonna line them up, I'm gonna put it up, I'm gonna save it, refresh, and now we have a block. See, the first one, client dependency handler, it's there, but again in a different line. So let's sync them up, but on the same positioning, and refresh, so we can be comparing things properly. Let's see, so next we have a small block. Keep in mind that this Evoq version, it's coming from an upgrades, so there might be entries here that are here because they came from earlier versions of DNN, and I think that this is the case. This is one of the cases. So this block is not at all here on DNN 804, so I'm going to get rid of it completely. You see this HTML template, this is about the RAD editor, so we will not be keeping this entire block. Let's get rid of it and let's keep going. Cache synchronization, I'm quite sure that this is an Evoq thing. See, .NET professional, we can get rid of that line as well. And now we have security. As we are coming towards the end of the system web server block, as there's nothing else here, I'm quite positive that the security, which is empty, is not required, and I'm gonna merge them with this HTTP protocol. I'm gonna overwrite actually. So let's go there and let's bring it over and let's save this and let's keep going. As you can see, very tedious process, but if it's done properly, it's the way to go. Now the next block, what do we have? So we have to separate this out. First, we have to compare machine key. Machine key, it needs to be unique per website. So this line is okay to be different, because otherwise if you make them the same, the users will no longer be able to log into the site. So don't touch the machine key line. However, the next block is the HTTP modules and the HTTP handlers. If you are running this website on IIS 7 and up in integrated mode, you should not need this entire block. As I said before, this is a site that is older and it's coming from upgrades as well. So maybe in the past it required those two sections. However, they no longer require, because I know the site is running in integrated modes, not in classic modes. So I can get rid of this. If you leave this out, that's fine as well. No harm done. However, I know that I can clean up a little bit this. So I will clean up and I will get rid of this. So I'm gonna save, I'm gonna refresh, and I'm going to keep going. So machine, leave it as is. Trust level, I don't know why it's medium here. There might be a reason for that in the past, but I know that right now we can go trust level full. So I'm going to bring this to full, and I'll keep going here. Web route, system.web.routing. I'm not sure if this is something that is specific to Evoq. I don't think so. There might be another module there requiring this. So I would tend to think that I should leave this alone. Next one here, just a few lines of comments. I can get rid of them, that's fine. I'll just keep going. Code subdirectories. Sometimes this can be used by third-party modules, but I can see right away that this is all commented out. So I'm going to get rid of it. You see the comment, the opening tag and the closing comment tag. So it's all commented out. So I might as well just get rid of it, and I'll keep going. Custom errors. It can be remote only or can be off. That's fine. Either way, it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to bring it over as well, but again, it's not super relevant. Next one, we have HTTP runtime. This is the case that the parameters are out of order, so it's flagging as different. And actually, there are a few parameters with different values. Let's say the execution time, it's slightly different. This should not impact much. So I would tend to think that I should leave this as is, because those settings, they were worked out at some point in terms of max length requests. Again, I'm inclined not to mess around with those sets. I'm gonna leave them as they are. Now we have a SpeedNet membership provider, and we have just one little difference here. That's fine, that's okay. And there is another one here as well, the password format, it has changed. I'm gonna leave this as is as well. I'll be concerned that if I change this, I might not be able to log in anymore with the current users. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna leave this as is. Identity impersonate equals to false. I'm not sure what the setting is, so I'm inclined to leave this as is as well. These are just comments, so I'm gonna get rid of comments just to make things smaller. Next one is Web Forms MVP. This is another case of being on different locations. You see, here it is, Web Forms MVP. So I'm going to have them in the same location, which is more or less right here. So let me go up again. Let me copy this entire block. Actually, let me cut this. Let me go down. It's approximately right around here and should give me a match. Yes, now it's matching. Let's go up again. So there's a minor change here. I think it's minor, so I might as well just make them the same. System helper, system web helpers. Let's see if it's a position thing. Let's have a look down here. Actually, I cannot find it right away, so I'm going to just do a search. Yeah, it's not here at all. Let's go up. Yeah, it's not there at all. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring it over. System web MVC. Let's see, I cannot find right away there either. Search. Nope, cannot find it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring this over to Evoq, and I'm going to get rid of this maxmind and maxmind GOIP2 and maxmind DB. I'm not sure what they are, but I don't think it's being used anywhere else on the site. However, I will tell you this. Most likely, if I leave this behind, there will be no problems. Nothing bad will happen, but I have a feeling that this is not in use, so I'm gonna replace them actually. Newtonsoft, I think it's the case of being on different locations, so I just have to have a look here. See, it's right here, it's down, so I'm just gonna bring this up a little bit so we can have a nice match over there. I'm gonna save, refresh. Now it's saying that it's different, and as we can see here, yes, they are. Older version is a little bit different, but that should be fine. However, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna use this I'm not gonna merge the whole thing because otherwise it will replace this part, which I haven't checked yet. But I'm gonna use the newtonsoft.json from the platform. I'm gonna save, refresh. Now you see here, .NDoc Enterprise. This will have to go away. This dependency here, it's safe to delete it. So the next one is the agility pack. It's mismatching with Telerik, but Telerik is right below here. So I'm quite sure that this HTML agility pack is being used somewhere else in the site. It doesn't come from DNN itself. So I'm inclined to leave it as is. Now, if I intend to leave this line, these lines, I need to make an equivalent there on the other end. So otherwise I'll be out of sync with them and it will be hard to keep comparing. So let's go to the next one here. We just have different comments here. See, it's all commented out. So you could very much just get rid of them completely altogether. But I'm just gonna get them in sync. Doesn't matter what says inside. Again, those are just commented out lines. The same thing here, another commented out line. And the same thing here, a bunch of commented out lines that I will just synchronize them. And I'll keep going. Here we just have this XML and S parameter I'm going to replace. So let's keep going. Now in this big section I see AWS here, which is most likely coming from Evoq. I see Windows Azure here as well, and I see a bunch of commented out lines. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just gonna replace this entire block by this line, and now we have a match. That's the 51.foundation. Let's keep going here. To be quite honest here, I'm not sure if these entries are being used by a third-party module or by Evoq. So I'm gonna leave them as they are, and I'm gonna skip and keep going there. So we have here, that's the editor, right editor, which is not required anymore here because we are using CK. So I'm going to replace this. We have a different default navigation control. I'm gonna replace, and there is another block here, which I'm just gonna leave the DDR one, get rid of all the other ones. Those are older ones. Scheduler, what do we have here? There's a slight different setting. I'm just gonna merge because of that, so not a big deal. The showstopper, we have a setting here that comes from DNN Professional, so I'm going to get rid of that. Permissions as well, this is something that we need to change to the core, so I'm going to keep going, remove these, and caching database module cache provider, I'm going to remove that as well. And a big chunk here, everything is related to enterprise. You see professional enterprise, and this is Amazon S3, Azure, Dropbox, Box folder. So those are the folder providers of Evoq. So I'm going to get rid of this entire block all at once. Another one here, enterprise, I'm going to get rid of this. So the next one here, cryptography. It's the case of being in a different location, as you can see. So I'm going to place in the same position. It's right after auth services. I'm gonna save this and refresh, and now it's a match. And we have a slight difference here. Let's keep them the same and keep going. Search iFilter. This is only for the professional, so I'm going to get rid of this section completely. This is the case of being in a different position right here. I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna save and refresh, and we are almost done. And this entire system service model, it's only present on the Evoq one, so I'm going to get rid of it completely. Now we're still left with a few differences, but let's just recap here at the top. See, we have a difference on the connection string, which is fine. It's fine. Connection string, my machine validation key is fine as well to be different. And this we decided to leave. We decided to leave this. We decided to leave this as well. This was a section that I was not sure about what this is, and we decided to leave this behind. So the change is done, and now we should be able to refresh our site and have it working. Let's have a look. Now the site is running, but you may ask, why do we still have the message that this is an unlicensed version of Evoq? Because the HTML module has not been changed yet, and that's what the next steps of our process will take care of. Now, just to prove that this is already a DNN 804, let's go to host, let's go to host settings, and as you can see here, version 804, DNN Platform. So that's how I know that it's already running the DNN platform. But again, we have to fix the HTML module in the next step.